Well, would you look at that? A KOTOR anime adaptation. I wonder what Redditors would think about this. Okay, enough said. I was watching the latest episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which covered a primitive version of the holodeck. It's essentially a VR AI simulation of sorts with a rather power-hungry virtual intelligence, which got me wondering about the issues of AI and the future in general. For those of you who don't know me, I've been quite the avid user of AI to create media for almost 4 years now as a hobby on this channel. I did recently try a more human way of making art, animation memes, which I'll appreciate if you check it out. And if you would like to see more stuff related to Star Wars and the Old Republic, do drop a like and subscribe. It's not an exaggeration to say that relying on GPT and AI to do our daily activities has hampered our cognitive abilities to think deeper for ourselves, especially as a university student, where some of my course mates and fellow engineering students can't really work independently on their assignments outside of using GPT. Don't get me wrong, I do it a lot for revisions, but my approach is never to rely on it as a holy grail. Google and Wikipedia are still around for a reason. Rather, it is supposed to reinforce what you have learned and studied, not to spoon-feed you answers. Double confirm what you picked up from the notes. Ask it to elaborate further. Ask it even more detailed questions about the topic and ask yourself, does that make sense? Not blindly consuming the content with no deeper thought. And that is a problem with utilizing language models for too long. Your thoughts become merely surface level, with no deeper inclinations and no deeper understandings. We've come to the point where your average Joe may not be able to distinguish between real and synthetic voices, real or generated images. If you were to browse the comments section of the earlier mentioned KOTOR 2 anime adaptation, there are unfortunately a lot of people who say, "Wow, such great voice acting." What they don't realize is that half the audio clips are just extracted from the original game, and the exile's voice?
Kreia, your hand, what happened?
That's just a voice clone of Laura Bailey. I also get quite a few comments like this on my earlier videos back in 2023. I don't really blame people for this, but we need to be more aware of the existence of such technology. It's quite funny when you consider that Law Smith's channel explicitly states that he's using AI tools, yet there are still people who are clueless as to where the origins of the video actually come from. No hate to him or his team. I understand the effort it takes to craft 30 minutes worth of content that engages people. Believe me, I've used earlier versions of less capable AI video generators for short concept videos. Much more effort goes into actually including audio, music, video, timing, rather than blindly churning out algorithmically generated content. I will, however, say the same thing I've said before in my recent criticism of AI video generators. They are simply too random for my personal taste to enjoy. Many shots in the KOTOR anime adaptation are inconsistent, such as Kreia's hair braids, and the movements still occasionally fall under the uncanny valley in some cases. Ultimately, AI is supposed to be a tool, not a means to an end. In debate circles, a common argument against artificial intelligence as a whole is that it contributes greatly to climate change, as data centers draw huge swaths of electricity and power. We see that case presented in the recent episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Running a holodeck simulation on board the NCC-1701 USS Enterprise is a recipe for the disaster, as the computer drains the entire ship's power source, even threatening crucial systems such as shields and thrusters. That whole near-death situation with the entire crew is what ultimately made Captain Pike shelve the whole project until it could be later employed in the next generation of much more capable Galaxy-class starships. But the thing is, researchers have already been working on optimizing the size of these large models since its inception. Advancements have already been made such that we are able to run AI on portable devices like laptops, which I recently showcased in my HK47 gameplay video. In more cutting-edge concepts, even a 2009 iPhone was used to run a large language model. A single GPT prompt no longer needs to run on a crazy large cloud computer anymore because of the consistent work done to optimize the size and performance of these models. My laptop, within its normal battery life unplugged, can still consistently run DeepSeek on it, which has a battery capacity of 85 watt-hours. And in that same duration, a fridge consumes 200 watt-hours. The point is, we always will have people working on optimizing processors, from the programming side to the energy side. AI consumes less than, if not just as much power as any conventional electronic device you and I own. The issue has never been about artificial intelligence, but rather human stupidity. AI is now a consistent hype train that is always evolving, that people chase after. Whether or not you are a strong advocate or adamantly anti-AI, there will always be arguments that will go on forever. From my personal experience, it was initially cool as a gimmick, and it's fun for the first few months, and it has its place, but is not a one-size-fits-all solution for everything. Specifically for generative models, it's still doing the very same thing that it always does. Mimicry. When the Glibby hype was going around, where people were utilizing GPT to Glibbify their models, their pictures, I was wondering why they were so blown away when you could easily do that with a few good Stable Diffusion fine-tunes on your own laptop almost a year earlier. And we are now facing the same issue with our attempt at building automation workflows, trying to use black boxes we know as language models to solve clearly defined problems. If a simple if-else statement suffices for a specific use case, why would you insert a GPT model into such a loop? Why would you risk that slight chance that your model may make the wrong choice, that a single line of code would solve 100% of the time? Why go through hours of generating AI images, of generating AI videos, trying to fine-tune the correct prompt, choosing the most consistent out of multiple generations, when you can manually edit the movement of the character yourself, animate the result you run, and render it with 100% accuracy? If you have access to the information and tools needed to solve a problem, why would you invest in a jackpot machine? If it's a really good jackpot machine that could give you huge returns, I'll grant you that. If you're willing to take that risk for an apparent short-term gain. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people seem to be doing. Don't get me wrong, I still have an interest in this field, and it's gonna be a stint in my final year. But I believe this should be done with a long-term purpose in mind, not merely hype chasing. And I do admit, I'm not immune to that. People like you and me will die of boredom after a while. We crave new things, always. In our hobbies, AI videos, the YouTube algorithm changes consistently. There's room for that. Keeping up with the latest things gives you an edge over those who fall behind. There is always a need to change, to adapt. But then again, it's not some grand revelation. There's only us and humanity. We should not let AI take away our humanity, our ability to think, our hope, our growth, our values, our wisdom. Would you want a utopia where robots do everything for you? Like Emperor Valkorian's Empire of Zaku? Or would you strive for a utopia that is built and maintained by our own hands? Question is, what are we gonna do to solve it? That's it for my little rant. What do you guys use AI for, or are you those people who are just super anti-AI? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, if you'd like to see more stuff related to Star Wars, I'm currently doing some animation memes here and there once every week, once every 2 weeks. So if you like that kind of stuff, do check out the channel. And as always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.